Alright guys, welcome back to Exercise Index. Today's episode is going to be about the ab wheel. With quarantine and not having access to gyms, this piece of equipment has gotten a lot of popularity. A lot of people are using this at home and they're not really using it the right way, when in my opinion it's one of the best core exercises you could possibly do. It's also loadable, we can make it harder, and if you're new to it, we can totally make it easier for you. It does contribute to a little bit of shoulder pain and lower back issues if you're not doing it properly. Alright guys, so the first kind of mistake we usually see when people use the ab wheel, we kind of take this as an upper body dominant exercise when we should be thinking about it from our head to toe, or at least head to knee. Most people kind of leave this movement a lot because they're afraid to eat shit. They kind of keep the wheel close to them, and instead of moving their hips forward, they move their hands forward as much as they can because they're afraid of loading this and hitting their face on the floor, right? The second way that people kind of butcher this one, when they do lead with the hips, their lower back kind of goes into a little bit of an arch. So at the bottom here, my core isn't active at all. I'm just really putting more stress on my low back and as well as the shoulders the whole time I'm doing this exercise.
It strengthens your entire core, your back core, your arm core.
So when we talk about utilizing this exercise correctly, we're literally trying not to move our torso at all. We're trying to keep rigidity through the entire movement and keep tension in the core. Our lats, abdominals, and hips, right? All those need to be active to keep us on a straight angle the entire time. As well as a lot of people don't have too much shoulder mobility to get down all the way. That's okay, we're just trying to keep tension in the core the proper way. So I guess the way we would set this up on our knees, have your knees about hip width apart, maybe a little bit wider. Wheel is gonna be going to my hand, but right here, all I'm gonna be thinking about is taking the opportunity to think about squeezing my lats down. That's gonna keep you from using too much shoulders and having your shoulders rise back. So the first step, lock down the lats, keep that nice and tight. After that, I'm really worried about my pelvis position. I don't want to be having an anterior pelvic tilt like so. I don't want to be too rounded. I just want to be nice and neutral. So think about tucking your hips in, get your pelvic floor involved, and keeping nice and tight through the torso. After that, I'm going to lead my hips and my shoulders to move at the same time. Glutes are tight. I'm gonna go down as low as I possibly can. All right guys, so the biggest cue that I think is missed with this exercise is when we're at that fully extended position, like so. We're at this bottom position right here. Most people think about driving their arms and shoulders down to get them up. In my opinion, that's only half of the battle. We have our knees and hips that are above the ground, and we should be utilizing them as such. So when I'm down in this, say this locked out position, I'm not thinking just about moving my arms up. I'm thinking about driving my knees to my chest and squeezing my stomach a little bit more. It's a good opportunity to get the psoas working, the hip flexors, and driving everything up in a uniform fashion. First kind of variation or a way to make it easier for a lot of people who aren't ready to go all the way down or they still have a little bit of fear, is just putting an object right in front of us just to limit how far we can go down. So we're playing a little bit with range of motion, which is fine because we're trying to perfect this range of motion with this exercise. So I'm going to be right here, locking everything down like we just talked about. Go gracefully at the same time, give it a tap, and come back. Go right back down, give it a tap, right back up. So each rep should be identical, leading with the hips, shoulders at the same time. Obviously, the more you do this one, I encourage you to move the object further and further to get used to going all the way down. All right guys, so if you are in the realm of this one being too easy, a way to make this a little bit harder and challenge your core is to kind of get a plate, some kind of weight, and put it on your mid-back, just to make it a tiny bit harder through the exercise. All right, so we're gonna put that on our mid-back. Same deal, we're using the same cues, keeping everything super tight. And we're gonna be executing this movement, hips, shoulders, same time, and right back up, okay? Just like that. All right guys, so the next variation, or the way to make it more difficult, is pretty much to perform it standing. We're gonna be on our feet, so we have to really over-exaggerate the stability of our lower body. We're gonna be kind of bending our knees, hinging over to start the exercise. so hopefully you had some takeaways from today's video. Again, try not to butcher this exercise and actually utilize your lats, shoulders, and hips. Lead at the same time. Again, utilize using an object right in front of you to work the different range of motions. This is a very underutilized tool in our toolbox. We should be trying to cut things in half if we can't perform the full one. All right, so if you have any other questions about the ab wheel or any other core exercises, please don't hesitate to contact me. Stay tuned for more videos.